All right, I'd like to call to order the Town of Niskuna Planning Board and Zoning Commission, March 10th, 2025 meeting. Mr. Henry, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Laflamme.
Here.
Mr. Khan.
Here.
Ms. Belofsky.
Here.
Ms. Gomes.
Here.
Ms. Gold.
Present.
Mr. Millspaugh.
Here.
Mr. Bill Calhoun.
Here.
Chairman Darpino.
Here. Next up is approval of the minutes. We do not have any minutes to review at this meeting. So we'll go on to the next item, public hearings. There are no public hearings. So we'll move right on to privilege of the floor. Privilege of the floor is open to any resident in Niskuna wishing to speak about any planning or zoning matter. Please approach the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Doreen Murdoch. This is
And
my
I'm
husband,
Kevin. And I'm Kevin Murdoch.
We live at 10 Napa Court here in Niskuna. We've been here in that house for 5.5 years, another 15 years in a bigger home since we retired. I have severe rheumatoid arthritis, so we are in a one floor. Since the end of last summer, there has been a burning, putrid smell that will not allow me to sit on my patio, open my windows at night, get any fresh air, even open my garage up without filling the house. And the house is filled with a horrible odor. And I get on my hands and knees and scrub everything. I've put new curtains up. I have 5 purifiers. I have gone to everyone I can think of, from the DEC to Laura, to the fire department's been several times, the police. Neighbors smell it. We've sent flyers around. They keep telling me to just keep escalating it, and maybe someone eventually will get sick of hearing us and will do something about it. There are properties behind us which go into Schenectady, the city of, and there are things that we think it may be. We've been told to find out ourselves, research it ourselves, to go around. And we go out at night, 10 o'clock at night, trying to find out where the smell is coming from night after night. With our windows open in our cars, our car smells. I have infections in my eyes. I'm on 2 different doses, higher doses now of steroid, because my eyes burn, my nares burn, my throat burns, coughing. It needs to be taken care of, but we don't know where to go anymore. We don't know where to go. So we came here.
So let me just add a little bit to that. Like I said, we've had the fire department there. The first time we had them there was a few days before Thanksgiving of last year. And since that time, we've also had them come, I believe it was in January. And we've talked to the police. They've come to the house at least twice. The last time, Officer, I don't have his name, hold on a second. Officer O'Brien, I believe. He did validate that there was a smell. It's a toxic type of chemical smell.
It starts kind of almost like a burned meat, like a burned pork or something. And then it goes at the very end, whatever they're turning off, whatever burning, it goes to a very, very chemical smell. My 8-year-old grandson, I don't even want him to come visit anymore because he says, "Grandma, your house smells like smoke." My son says, let me call DEC and tell them what it smells like because it's horrible. My daughter says the same thing. I have to take injections every week. I'm immune suppressed. That's why not that we're sick. I'm immune suppressed. And my eyes, I've had ulcerations in my eyes, and now they're very, very bad from this. I've been to my ophthalmologist twice in 3 days because the prednisone, the steroid put me on wasn't working, wasn't strong enough. We just keep elevating the dosage. Flonase, Xiidra, everything they can think of. I just can't keep taking. I take weekly injections. I can't keep taking immune suppressants. Someone needs to do something.
So the most current time that I went out, and Doreen and I both, we went to a police station. It was the end of February. It was the Friday before last. We talked to Officer Guest, I believe, and she talked with us about that.
Very nice.
And We also, at that time, we went up to the planning board. We talked to Laura Robertson that day. She was going to set up, because quite often when we call the police or we call the fire department or call people, it takes a while to respond. And this is real tricky, this odor. It comes, it goes. Normally, and what the D's told me to do is, okay, check where the wind direction also. And where we're located, we're in a cul-de-sac and there's a square around us, a block, let's say. And we face north and the wind is usually coming from the northwest. And what we've gone is when we smell it, I've gone around that square, that quadrant, and it's right on that northwest corner. So it's coming up. We live kind of on a hill. Where we live, it goes down to the river. So we're on the south side of the river. And the wind normally comes out of the northwest and it blows right up into our area. And that's where I've gone around and I checked, there were a couple of houses there. There was one on Hillside that has like an older block type garage. We thought maybe it was there. There's the old Wells Landscaping built across the street. That
They did
business.
check that. EC said they checked it and they didn't find anything.
And we've been talking with Ben Potter at the DEC in Rotterdam.
He doesn't call back anymore.
He's come to the house a couple of times.
One time.
And like I said, the end of February, the 28th, I came here. I talked with the police, talked with the planner. I also drove down to Rotterdam. Ben happened to be on a vacation at the time, but I did talk to Kayla down there, and we spoke one-on-one. I explained it to her. I gave, basically I've written up, and I've given the same information
To everybody.
to all the people, all three of those facilities, all the organizations at that time. And this is, if I could just show you, this is
To the end there.
Who was the right person? This is the flyer we sent out, and
To the neighbors that.
To the micro, yeah.
our names aren't on it. It was, like we're not
Our
out
neighbors.
soliciting, but we're out there saying, okay, hey, we see there's an issue. There's some phone numbers on there.
I don't know if they called or not. We don't know. We don't hear
And-
anything from DEC. They do not
Right.
call back.
So I put that in people's mailboxes on our cul-de-sac, and also the street behind us, which is Englewood.
Yeah.
Because that's the direction that the smell goes. So, and I've gone up there and it smelled up there also. I don't know if anybody else has reported it or not, but this is what DEC told us to, suggested us do.
And I think the police and they say that, it's just the water, what do they call
Treatment
it?
plant
Treatment
down
plant.
Anthony
We go
Street.
from our house to where we smell it coming from to there, and it is not the same. That's a sulfur smell, and there's a little bit of a detergent smell. It is not the same smell. We've lived there for 5.5 years. It didn't just suddenly start smelling like that.
Okay, I'm going to thank you for bringing this to our attention.
Okay.
If it relates to a planning item,
We
we
were the
can,
building department.
we understand, we understand.
Right.
This isn't a time when we actually do a dialogue, but what we'll do is we'll take that concern to the planning department and have somebody from the town reach out to you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Nadia Rockwell. I live at 2488 Brookshire Drive. I'm not going to take up a lot of your time. I just wanted to thank you all for listening to me and Denise over the past several months and letting us relay our concerns to you regarding the proposed subdivision at 929 Pierce Road. This board has had a lot of thoughtful discussions about this subdivision, and I hope you continue to keep the neighboring properties in your thoughts going forward. We are very concerned about how this subdivision will cause further destruction to our properties and the precedent a subdivision like this will set for future properties in our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else here for privilege of the floor? Okay, Laura or Clark, do we have any correspondence or anyone online wishing to speak?
I have not received any, and I'm not sure about Laura.
I didn't receive any for tonight. I did email you guys the letter about the liquor store.
All right, last call for privilege of the floor. All right, seeing as no one else, we're going to close privilege of the floor. Moving on, there's no unfinished business, so we move on to new business. First up is Resolution 2025-07, a resolution for site plan approval for a tenant change with signage to Dave's Hot Chicken at 412 Balltown Road. Now therefore, be it hereby resolved that the Planning Board and Zoning Commission find the above referenced site plan meets the requirements of the zoning code and previous site plan and zoning board of appeals approvals, and therefore hereby approves the site plan and tenant change with the following conditions. 1, final signage and facade treatments for the tenant shall be reviewed and approved by the Planning Board at a future date. Any waivers or variations of code on proposed signage shall require a full Planning Board review at a future date. Could I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Khan,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Laflamme. Representative from the applicant here?
Hello,
Ms. Clark?
I'm Carly from AJ Signs, back again. And tonight we are seeking our 3 signs, one on each facade for Dave's Hot Chicken. Also hoping to get approval on some awnings and the graphics as well, if that's something we can vote on tonight as well.
No, that's not tonight.
Yeah, so tonight we're going to be, as the resolution states and we had discussed, we're going to do in this meeting, we proposed a resolution and made a motion. It's on the floor for the tenant change. So that's what the board's going to formally vote on based on this resolution. I noticed we didn't have it as an agenda item in the discussions.
Correct.
So at some point, we will need to slate an agenda item where we'll discuss the sign proposal sizes, the awning proposal, and the mural painting proposal that the applicant has requested.
Yes, because we can't move forward with a tenant change unless we know what's going to be approved with Dave's on Dave's end. So that's not something we can discuss this evening.
So to bring the board up to speed, we had a special meeting with the applicant and their representative, the franchisee's owner. We talked about those items. So the cleanest path forward, at least for right now, is to approve the tenant change. And then because the entire package wasn't ready and complete with all the updated drawings and the final version of what you wanted to submit, to keep this moving, we wanted to get the tenant change approved. If you decide in the interim that you don't want to move forward with it, or you want to get the signed package in by the next meeting, then you've got time to do that deadline. It can come back to a resolution at that point.
Okay,
Okay.
All right.
sounds good.
Right. And so, just to echo what the chairman said, it would be really good if you can get us a final set of the 3 things you're requesting relative to the size of the sign, the awnings, and the mural painting. We can get it in time for our next meeting, which is what date, Clark?
I think it's 3. I believe it's 3 weeks away. There's quite a little bit of time.
Yeah. But
This says the 24th.
our next meeting is the 24th,
Okay.
2 weeks away.
2 weeks away,
Right.
just like,
So it might be this Wednesday or Thursday. This
So you
Wednesday.
need
or
it by
Thursday.
Friday?
yeah.
So it is exactly what we provided here. So if I just shoot that over, we'll
Correct.
be on the next agenda.
Correct. You'd have to send it to planning.
Yep.
Got it.
And as a preview to the board, I'll recommend, and Chairman Walsh, you can, I'm sorry. Boy, that's a blast from the past. Chairman DiArpino, you can, I'll request in that meeting for the board when we're having the discussion on those 3 topics, that prior for us forming a resolution, we will just take an informal vote on where we stand. All right. And then I think based on that informal vote, I shouldn't say informal, based on that vote within the meeting, we can then craft what the resolution will be in the subsequent meeting that we would be proposing. Does that sound like it makes sense to everyone?
Mhm.
But we've had a lot of discussion around, right? So we really need to see it so that every planning board member has, with no, like, yeah, the software can do this, right? Let's just see what each thing is, dimensions, look and feel of it, description, right, for all three of those.
Okay.
All right?
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
And it should be in by this Friday. Right, so it looks like you might be in good shape to submit it, and then we can go from there. But the board already has a, an understanding of what's going to be coming.
Sounds good.
All right, Kyle.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other further discussion? Okay, Mr. Herman, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Laflamme,
Aye.
Mr. Khan,
Aye.
Ms. Belowski,
Aye.
Ms. Gomes,
Aye.
Ms. Gold,
I have no problem with the tenant change.
Mr. Bill Calhoun.
Aye.
Chairman Darpino.
Aye. Tenant resolution passes. Thank you. Okay, next up is Resolution 2025-08, a resolution for sketch plan approval for a two-lot minor subdivision at 929 Pierce Road. Would just like to let the board know that Mr. Laflamme will be recusing himself
Correct.
on that. At some point, I will step in as project lead when applicable. Okay. Now therefore, be it hereby resolved that this Planning Board and Zoning Commission does hereby classify this sketch plan as a minor subdivision as defined by Chapter 189 of the Code of the Town of Niskayuna, and be it further resolved that the Planning Board and Zoning Commission does hereby grant sketch plan approval for the concept subdivision drawing entitled Sketch Plan Lands NF Roberto Seguela, 929 Pierce Road by ABD Engineers and Surveyors dated June 26, 2024, with a most recent revision of Revision 3 dated January 30th, 2025, with the following conditions. 1. Sketch plan approval is a conceptual review of the proposed lot division for the purposes of classification and preliminary discussion as described in the Town of Niskayuna zoning sections 189-6 and 189-22. The location of proposed boundary lines, infrastructure, utilities, and improvements are subject to change during environmental review, engineering, public hearing, and subdivision review process. 2. The frontage proposed on the sketch plan for the two new lots is not code compliant, and therefore the minor subdivision application will be denied. Any further review of the subdivision proposal will be pending the outcome of an appeal to the Zoning Board of Appeals. 3. A 20-foot wide easement shall be added to any future subdivision drawings along Pierce Road to facilitate a possible future sidewalk. I'll move to bring this resolution forward. Anyone a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Mr. Calhoun, Bill and Calhoun. Okay, discussion. Do we have anyone from the applicant here?
Good evening. My name is Dave Kimmer from ABD Engineers. I'm here on behalf of the owner of 929 Pierce Road. Here to answer any questions you might have, but in general, we agree with the resolution as presented.
Okay. So just to bring some clarification to this resolution is going to deny the application that's there. The next step will be to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals to get the approval for the 5-foot road frontage variances. And as we've discussed, there's a known water issue that's on site. Obviously, we've taken a look at the site plan. It does slope down. There's some adjacent properties, some pre-existing things that don't affect this application, but some known issues with some of the water table and downstream watering. So,
Right.
one of this development is, because it's surrounded by other established developments, may have to work on the engineering package in order to get that mitigated.
Yes.
I'll open it up to discussion.
And I'll just note, my understanding is if the variance is granted, then this will be reviewed by a town designated engineer as well.
Correct.
And that would go a long way on addressing the water issue.
Anyone else? Okay, Mr. Henry, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Laflamme.
I'm recusing myself.
Oh, excuse me. Mr. Khan,
Nay.
Ms. Belofsky,
Nay.
Ms. Gomes,
Nay.
Ms. Gold,
Aye.
Mr. Bill Calhoun.
Nay.
Chairman Darpino.
Aye. Resolution does not pass.
Okay, thank you.
Planning Department will be in contact with you.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, that closes new business. Next up are discussion items. First up is 2690 Balltown Road, GE Vernova. GE Vernova, site plan application for a new guardhouse and a new patio. This is the first time we're seeing this project. We have a representative from the applicant here.
Good evening, Matt Savoy. I'm the Facilities Operations Director for GE Vernova at the Advanced Research Center. Pleasure to be here tonight. Appreciate everyone's time. The project we're going to be discussing today is on Balltown Road, a facility known as the Renewable Energy Learning Center. We put a package together here just to kind of set the scene with the project description and some renders. And then my colleague here, Gina, from VHB Engineering, is here to also help facilitate any specific technical questions anyone might have.
Okay, great. So we've got two items here. First one is a guard shack that's on the kind of like a midpoint parcel of the road that comes in.
Yeah, so it's pretty far down the road there.
Okay.
I know it's a little hard to see.
Why don't you go ahead and start with that?
Okay. Do you mind if I just point this?
If you do, can you bring the microphone with you? It does come up off of there.
I won't break it.
It won't break it. It's on Velcro. Yeah, if that doesn't work, we can give you the microphone over there.
No. Yeah, that's
We have a
There's one
cordless.
There's a
Matt.
cordless right there.
Cordless.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. All right. So just to kind of orient you, out here is Balltown Road. This is that entry road. And you see blown up, the guard shack's pretty far down into the property there, right where the existing facilities are. Not visible from Balltown Road. It's a fairly small structure, about 90 square feet. So one person facility, couple gate arms, a slight widening of the road to accommodate that guard shack in the center. That's where we do check-in points. Make sure people that are supposed to be they're coming to the property are actually supposed to be there. They have a host. Keep the site a little bit secure, but also keep the site safe as well. So that's relatively straightforward. The bottom right, you'll see that's a render. Fairly nice design, I think. Tries to match the aesthetic of the facility. You know, we got asked, oh, there's a lot of off-the-shelf items. You could go for one of those. We said no, we wanted to really design something that matched the aesthetic of the facility. So that's what you see there.
There's not one on the property now, is that correct?
Correct, there's
Was
not.
there ever?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. And is this consistent with other GE properties, or is it sort of commensurate with the level of security on each?
Yeah, so most facilities actually have a significantly higher level of security.
I thought?
This is a starting point. Fairly simplistic, fairly minor impact, no wetland impacts, nothing like that. So we wanted to really start small. We're just starting to really invigorate that campus over there. So this is kind of one of those initial steps. Eventually, you know, you might consider, do you fence the property? There's lots of other things we could go do in the future, but those are potentially down the line. We're not considering those. We're really focused on really one entry point to ensure people that are coming to the site are supposed to be there. Also, again, the safety of the employees, right? We can, you know, we'll have a security force on site. We want to make sure if you're coming there, you belong there.
You meant to me. Okay.
You mentioned that there would be power to the site. Is there currently any power run out that far? Would you just be bringing a trench out there? Are you going to piggyback off something that's existing?
Yeah, so there's actually existing power in the ground on both sides of the road where that guard check is. So really, really, really minor impact to be able to get power and data out there.
Okay.
One of the reasons why we picked that location as well, there were existing utilities in the area.
Okay, that's good. I know it's surrounded by some wetlands, some undeveloped areas too. I didn't know if that would have been compromised at all, but it sounds like it. You have a pretty good path to tapping into that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's like 1,700 feet in from Balltown. So it's not going to be terribly visible.
No, that's what he
It won't be
said.
visible.
Not from Balltown. Okay.
Will it be manned 24/7?
Yes, sir.
How about lighting on the outside of it?
Yep. So in the little peninsula of the island,
Mhm.
looking at lighted bollards,
Okay.
low lighted bollards.
Low light.
Again, just to give some visibility there. And then there is existing street lighting along that incoming road, so that would help with the traffic coming in. But
Okay.
I want to make sure that thing is visible. Obviously, people are just coming in at night, early in the morning. We know it gets dark at 4 o'clock in the winter here.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Any other initial questions? Okay, next up is
Okay.
the patio.
So this is probably the more exciting one for us. So this is an entertainment patio. So this is designed for visitors, customers, dignitaries, folks that are going to come to Niskayuna, the Advanced Research Center, to learn about our decarbonization and electrification efforts, right? No, it's a mouthful. So as the team knows, right, there's the direct air capture 10 ton per unit that's going to be going out there. These are really, really exciting things. When you look at what we're trying to do from a business perspective, right, and grow these kind of new markets, especially around decarbonization, there's a lot of interaction with government. There's a lot of interaction with customers. There's a lot of startup interaction. So this is designed primarily to focus on helping entertain those folks when they come to the site, right? Bring them into the visitor center, show them around, show them technology on display, entertain outside, and as well for our employees. So we'll start to have some employees over there, not a ton, to be honest with you, to start with, right? But we expect that, or we hope that to grow. And this is a spot for them as well to come relax, for us to host events for our own employees as well. There's something very similar on the One Research Circle property as well, I'm sure you're familiar with. So think of this kind of in a similar vein, but more with a very specific GE Vernova twist. You'll see some branding, lots of greenery, lots of trees. We asked the landscape architects to really focus on not only greenery and trees, but also how do you incorporate some of the SWIP aspects into the design. So there's even some areas where they're grading versus concrete. So trying to be creative on how we think about the environment. One of the interesting things as we started thinking about this project on the property was trees are natural carbon sequestration devices, right? So as we talk about decarb and the DAC unit, we thought about how do we incorporate more trees, more greenery into these types of designs to kind of tie those things together, if that makes sense.
Okay. Could you just give a quick recap of what the space is right now that you're proposing to renovate?
Yeah, so there's actually an existing building in one of those renders you could have seen right behind that patio. Then the grass, it kind of comes off into a grassy hill down towards at the bottom, wetlands farther away. So we're really looking to repurpose that and then overlook it across the street, across that circle you'll see there, towards a lot of wildflower type areas.
So it's adjacent and connected to the existing building. So it will be accessible through the existing building. And we've specifically designed it to keep it out of the wetlands.
Yeah, you've got a demarcation line of about 20 feet, 25 feet or whatever's on there. Yeah. Okay. All right. And it definitely looks like a very interesting project. Looks like it's going to be a nice asset. I know that there's been a couple other recent projects up there to enhance the customer experience and the outside. So it seems like this is in step with that.
Yeah, we're really excited about it.
Okay. As far as having there's some basic questions we always ask.
Sure.
As far as having additional personnel that are going to be on site, we always ask about parking. So is your site going to be able to handle an influx of parking? Say you hold an event for 100 people or so.
Yep. So a lot of parking on site. We also got banked parking on some sketch plans, right? being adjacent to one research circle also allows us the opportunity to move people between the two campuses. A lot of our employees' homes are one research circle. So that's where they live, that's where they park. We've got the opportunity to use shuttling and those as well if we ever ended up into an issue.
Okay. Support facilities, toilet rooms, wash stations, all that type of stuff has been thought through.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Any other?
I can't remember, Matt. Do you know the distance to the existing wetlands from this?
It's on the plans. I'd have to go pull it directly
Okay.
off unless you have it.
The closest point is 25 feet, I think.
Yeah,
You know?
there's a dimension on
Yep.
that drawing there,
Yeah.
sort of right
It's under the text.
right under it.
Is there any required buffer?
I think that's the buffer.
the buffer.
We've met or exceeded in some cases the buffer.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Matt and the engineering department has looked at that over, but we'll definitely take a look at that. Or if he wants to run it past the TDE quickly, we'll do that.
Okay. Absolutely. All right.
And again, you mentioned this, but there was consideration, just looking at the plan, initial plan, the impervious surface idea. I don't know if you can speak just with a little more detail about how to mitigate that.
It's not, actually looks all impervious, but it's not.
Okay.
50% of it is pervious, 50 is impervious.
Okay.
And it has been designed with native species. There's a lot of incorporation of the exterior, and there is a full stormwater design for this
Okay.
particular decking.
Thank you.
All right, so I think the next step is we'll get a project lead assigned to this, and planning department will reach out to you. I think it would be helpful if we got these images submitted in with the package along with any other additional drawings that you may have. It sounds like the concept design has moved along. They're helpful for the board to review as well as the TDE.
Absolutely. We'll submit those to you, Clark.
Yes.
Everything,
thanks.
everything goes to planning. Yes. All right. No further questions? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Next up is 31 East Street, a site plan application for the addition of an external fuel tank. Project lead is Ms. Gomes. And do we have a representative from the applicant online?
Yeah, this is Janet Conan.
How are you tonight?
Very good. How are you guys?
Good, good. Okay, so since our last meeting, Ms. Gomes has performed a site visit. Want to give the board an update?
Yes, and we did a site visit. I think Laura has some photos just to give everybody some context, some point of reference. Laura, do you have the front view picture?
Yeah, my computer is only letting me pull one of them up at a time, but hold on, I'll get them all open and then you can just tell me which one you want.
So while we wait for that, I wanted to just touch on the visibility. I know it's not visible from the front street. One of the points that we kind of looked at while we were walking the property is that there is a neighbor to the left that it is very visible. They've started some initial efforts to plant a tree line to kind of block. There are also, I think, 2 existing tanks on the left side of the building. Once we have the pictures up, I would just kind of recommend that there be some efforts to plant some trees, not only in the back, but probably along the whole left side. Yeah, so this is looking into the left neighbor's yard, and those little baby trees are. So they're starting to line that property. And I think there's a picture that shows the tanks on the side. This is the back where that rectangle is where the actual tank will go, that right next to the orange cone. The property is dirt, so I would recommend that there probably be a slab put there as well. This view is looking up from the bike path. So you can see, we're actually standing on the path. So probably 3/4 of the year it's visible. It's even in the summer, I don't think it's completely gonna block that visibility. So probably some efforts to reduce visibility on that side as well. The only other thing that I had a concern about is while walking the property where the tank would go, there was and kind of an odor of gasoline. So I'm worried that with the dirt and the runoff, I would just wonder if there's been some consideration on if that's going to be a slab just where the tank is, or you're going to put some efforts to kind of create a place where there's probably an impervious barrier so that when the trucks load that it's not going into the dirt and it's not running off, because there's like it's like a muddy kind of path into the neighbor's yard.
Right. As far as our neighbor next door in the blue house has asked us not to plant in the front where we were originally going to plant. So I told them that we could probably keep the bushes lower for whatever we put out there. The tanks that you see there are propane tanks that are going to be gone. We're just trying to empty them out because they won't give us credit for the propane that's in them, but they're going. Then on the back part where the tank would be, there's going to be what I would call a bib that comes out from the building where it's going to be heated so that the trucks, when they come inside, don't hit ice and stuff. And it would be off of that bib, and there would also be stone. I think you guys have that thing from the tank company that they come in and they actually dig it out, put stone in it, so that there's no problem with any type of runoff. And as far as the gasoline smell, I haven't smelled that unless that was from previous, because we have no fuel on the site right now.
Okay, it may have been maybe from like a truck or something.
Yeah.
But it's helpful to know that. So when you talk about the stone, is it only going to be under the tank, or is it going to be throughout the back, the full width of the property in the back?
No, it's going to be under the tank.
Okay.
We're not really looking to do too much with the back there. That's going to stay natural and not really used. The only thing we really need is the building itself and putting the trucks in and out to get loaded.
And is there a possibility that there could be some type of planting along the back, both sides, actually, the back on the left and the right, to reduce visibility?
Yes, we had already agreed to do planting.
Okay.
The only reason it's not in there now is because the planting was coming when the septic went in and the water line, and that got pushed off so long that some of that planting is going right where that is. So it got put off until this year.
Okay. So to recap, there's there's a couple of propane tanks that are eventually leaving.
Yes, we're just about empty.
Okay. There's a new proposed diesel tank on the back to the left of the overhead door that's going to have, when
Which
you
will be-
refer to the bib, you're talking about just ground treatment, correct? Crushed stone,
Correct.
something that's better than the gravel that's, or
No,
the-
it's going to be heated. So it's going to be
Okay.
more of a concrete.
Is that on the site plan, the actual?
Yeah, if you're looking at the plan that's hand drawn, it's, you see the black line where the yellow box is?
Right.
That, and in the front of the building, see where the black line is?
Right, the pencil
That's in
lines that
front
go
of
on
the
both
door.
sides? Okay.
Yeah,
So that's a concrete slab? Is that a correct terminology?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
right.
It's heated.
Okay. All right.
And then the tank that they're proposing to put in is brown. And eventually the building's going to be brown, and all of that should blend in.
And one of the other items that we had talked about was possibly adding a couple bollards to flank that propane tank.
That's right.
Right.
And if you're doing the concrete work there, then that would definitely make sense to add those in. They don't have to
Not a
be painted a
problem.
bright color or anything. They could be a muted color, but and since it's a select group of people that'll be using this, they'll be pretty cognizant of the site.
Yes. We're hoping to keep the site on the natural tones, the browns, the beige, that type of thing.
Is that just for the back of the building that it's gonna be brown? Because it looks
No.
like the front of the building that was updated, right?
The what? I'm
The-
sorry.
The front of the building facade, was that recently painted, the white?
No, that's what's there.
Okay.
Eventually, we want to do the building to look like an old railroad storage shed, barn storage shed.
Do you want to see a rendering of this whole thing? And the only reason I'm asking, to make it clear, is just because this is a residential neighborhood.
Well, the only thing we're looking for, because we have to come before you before we do the building itself. We're just looking right now to put the tank in.
Are you, all right, so let's clarify something. Are you proposing something on a future project to do in addition or to modify the outside of the building other than just painting it?
I'm not sure if it's going to be paint or siding. That's still up in the air, but it's going to be changed from the stripe that it is now to more of an earth tone like a brown. Solid color.
Mr. Khan, I think that was a good recommendation because Ms. Gomes described the site visit and the need for some screening in certain spots. So between that and maybe the bollards and some other things, a cleaner site plan or some type of rendering would seem appropriate to me.
Well, I have to look at it a little differently. I know there are a number of propane tanks in that neighborhood. It's kind of consistent with residential use. Diesel is not. So I regard it as an expansion of the nonconforming use. And therefore, I'm having a hard time supporting this.
Yeah, and Ms. Cole, that's the thing, right? For me, that's a next step beyond just at least seeing what's being proposed, right? And again, I'm being motivated by the fact that this is a residential neighborhood. And I know our package had said that there was a John Ray and Sons description at least, or a fuel tank equipment agreement, which should have the description, but it wasn't included, so.
It was in the last
Was it the
packet.
last time?
Yeah, and they had a
Okay.
summary
Okay,
of
all right,
where
so-
other diesel.
Okay, so I was
other
absent
diesel
on that
ones
meeting,
were
okay.
listed, yeah.
Sorry.
But as far as this tank goes, it's absolutely no different than what a home heating oil tank would be. I mean, it's no big thing like a gas station.
Currently, where do your vehicles refuel?
At the gas stations in town.
So how much uptick in traffic do you think there'll be through the neighborhood?
It's still just the one truck that goes out of there
Oh,
right
it's just
now.
one truck, okay.
We have that one spray foam truck and it's diesel. The other trucks that come down that are from underlayments, they fill with our tank up in Warrensburg. But the one spray foam truck that we have strictly goes out of there and there's no tank there. So she has to go into town to get the diesel. And it is a lot more expensive than what we could pay when we do bulk.
Understood.
So as you mentioned, Ms. Conis, do you have a photograph that you can submit to the board about what it looks like at your other location, the tank that's there?
Sure. Certainly. The only thing is when I send you that picture, in front of that one, there's also a kerosene tank, but that wouldn't be happening at this one. We're not even looking at that. So I'll just mark where show you an arrow to show you the one that's the oil tank. Or diesel.
So since the tank is also visible from the bike path, I know that on other previous projects that are along the bike path corridor, if there is an opportunity to screen that, maybe it's in conjunction with the bollard or something on one side, that may be advantageous to look into.
That wouldn't be a problem at all.
Okay. All right. So any other discussion items? Okay. All right, so to summarize, there's a couple pieces of information and a photograph that we're looking to get. And if you can get those into the planning department, we can keep you on to the next agenda.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for your
But just to
time.
be specific, we are asking for a 3D rendering too,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Okay, Clark.
She knows that.
I mean,
You want it-
ABD
I didn't know
Engineers
you
has
wanted
done,
it 3D.
Are we requiring a 3D rendering or just a better diagram of the request?
so you've already contracted with ABD, correct? You have this site
Yeah.
plan drawing? Okay. So enhancing that drawing beyond what the hand sketch is,
Mhm.
in addition to, if you want to manipulate the photograph, or in addition to that, give us a photograph of the current tank that you have, that's information that would be helpful to review that. We've seen the site visit photographs, so we know the vantage points from the bike path, the other neighbor's yard, looking back, and then looking at the elevation of the building. Those are all helpful. That'll probably just wrap this up.
Okay, no problem.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next up on discussion items is 432 Balltown Road, Mohawk Commons, a site plan application for a tenant change to Orange Wine and Spirits. This is a new application. Do we have a representative from the applicant here? Okay, come on up.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for having us. Yeah, so that's,
Oh, could you just state your name, please?
yeah, my name is Narendra Singh.
Okay.
Yes, he's,
Okay, just talking to the microphone, please.
My name is Ranjit, and I'm his brother. I'm helping him with this project.
Okay, great. All right. So it's a proposed liquor store, and be going into the vacant space between Famous Footwear and Burlington Coat Factory over on the part of the plaza where Target is, correct?
yes, correct.
All right. Give a quick recap of the proposed space.
Yes, so this will be 2,500 square foot of space. I mean, this is actually 4,000, so rest of it is gonna be a storage space. I think it's 2,500 or 2,600 plus minus. And then it will be open, regular hours, whatever the S is allowed by the SLA.
Okay.
And as you can see, there's a shelving design. So this is a sketch of like all the shelving for a sales area. And there's a wall in there that divides the hallway area and the stockroom area. So that's what it's going to look like exactly for the sales area and the stockroom wise. That's pretty much it on my end.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is in the CS Shopping Center Commercial Zoning District, which is a principal permitted use that can be in the district. Just as a clarification, that tenant space is going to be half of the current open space in that building. Is that correct? Or is it taking up the whole width of the vacant parcel that's there? Does that make sense? So
It's 4,000 square foot all the way from front to the back.
correct. So this picture here, that entire storefront will be it.
No,
It's just
half
half of it, correct? Oh, I see. Okay.
So if you remember, like used to be a Payless, and then I think Carter. So,
right.
Carter.
So technically, he was using the right hand space
Okay.
for what
Right.
the Payless store was. The Carter store was actually there. So
Okay.
yeah,
I tried to peek in this weekend and
yeah.
okay. So it's basically half of that
Yeah,
facade space. Okay.
correct.
There was a signage package that was included with this. Where approximately would that signage be shown here?
So I can, if you allow me, I can show you. So as you can see here, the sign, this, you see this aluminum frame right here? That sign is, we submitted that, but we don't like it. Like the Ray Sign Company is gonna be submitting a new sign package separately. Yeah. So that's where it's probably half of that part.
Okay, is that package going to include a rendering of what it will look like on that space?
Yes, yeah. They will be submitting that, the signage package, Ray Sign. Basically, I guess we have probably 17 foot, from the right side of that pillar, coming all the way to the middle of that where aluminum frame is. And that's pretty much it we can cover, I think, so far as the signage, yeah.
Basically, what the width of the store we have, we can only cover that area on top.
Mhm. Would there be a sign proposed on the back of the building, even though it faces the alley?
No, there won't be no sign, no.
Chairman, the property owner does have his hand raised to speak to.
Is that Mr. Levy?
Yeah.
Okay. You may go ahead.
Does he need to unmute?
No, he's actually not muted, but I can't hear him either. Jeff, if you want to just type your comments into the comment section, I can read them too. We can't hear you.
Is that,
Oh, there you are.
There you were.
Okay.
We heard you for a second.
okay, sorry about that. If you look at the storefront, you can see from the door there, two sets of window panes
Mhm.
To the left of the storefront. So if you're looking at the doors of that store, and then you see the two sets of 6-foot window panes to the left,
Mhm.
one with, yes, that's the demise space.
Okay.
So that's where the demise space is. Just so you're aware, the other space belongs to, the other side of that window belongs to Burlington. So that's
So
the
Jeff,
way-
Jeff, you're saying the two doors on the far right plus the two window panes to the immediate left?
Yes, that
That's
is
the
store.
full.
That
That's
is
the
the
full.
storefront.
Got it. Okay.
There's some of the storefront is tucked behind that column, so it becomes, it's sort of worked in with the building.
Mhm.
But that is the demise, that is the storefront.
And on the plan that was proposed, is the cashier's area right at the front?
Yes, it will be right by that,
By the window?
by that window, yeah.
Okay.
If you zoom that in, I think, it should be in there in the plan. No, it's not, no,
not there.
that's the old one. We will be, I think, it has to change the location. It's going right into the window.
Okay.
17 foot, going from the window towards to the back.
In terms of the storage space that you're going to use, is that just storage for this store, or do you operate multiple locations? and
No,
it's
we don't operate any other liquor store. This is the only.
This is the only one?
First liquor store, yes.
Okay.
And this will be only strictly for the liquor product related to this site.
Mhm.
Yes.
And the load-in is from the back, like the other
Yes,
buildings?
correct.
Correct? Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Levy, that property that's to the left of the immediate one we're talking about, is Burlington actually doing anything with that, or is it just vacant?
No, it's actually part of the Burlington selling floor.
Okay,
Oh, wow.
Did the construction and merged it with the Burlington inside.
okay, so there's a window and door there that are unusable, it's got nothing behind it but the Burlington selling floor.
That's correct.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to do anything in the window front?
No.
Okay.
We're just gonna keep it exposed. I mean, like, not exposed. We will have POS counter sales area, which will be visible from those two windows frames. That's pretty much it.
Right, because the one in ShopRite, they have a lot of like promotional, is that what you're
No,
getting
we're
at?
not gonna do that. No, I mean, we don't wanna do that. If we wanna keep it like, neat and clean, visible, instead of putting all the signs up in the front.
So there'll be an exterior sign up above
Yes.
and then additional signage, I'm assuming, on the doors or
No,
just up above?
just above, yeah.
Okay.
We will have maybe an open sign, like
Mhm.
little one open sign
Mhm.
on that, the top frame,
Mhm.
on the window, but no, nothing too big or any of the glueies, the vinyl poster, none of that. Yeah.
Okay.
And there is overhead lighting on the side, over the sidewalk part. And then on the pillars on both sides, there are sconces, and I presume they stay in place.
Yes.
Yeah. So my only thought on this one, it's going to have to do, it's a thought. I'm not going to call it a concern. And it has to do with actually this location, this part of where Mohawk Commons is. This space is extremely congested. And there's a lot of folks between Burlington, Target, and cars also freely using that, that lane. Do you have an anticipation, like how many customers you expect to serve in any given hour of your open hours and what your hours are and all that?
Probably like maybe 100 to 150 customers a day. That's 100 probably on the weekdays, maybe 150 on the weekends. Probably I would say maybe 10 to 15 customers like per hour. That's what we are anticipating right here.
And I'm in that area regularly. I've not seen any problems with parking. There's lots of spaces.
I suspect you're going to have a lot of people that are doubling up too.
Yeah.
That it's not all going to be unique visitors. You're going to have people who are coming to the other establishments and parking once and shopping in more than one location.
You can work with the landlord if there's any any possibilities to enhance pedestrian striping at a cross area. I know that Target has a really, really good defined area that's in front of the store. They also have an area to the right where they do their pickup and takeout. Are you anticipating any type of curbside pickup, or would all customers come inside?
No, we do have, I think in this file, there should be submission in there that we submitted, that we are doing 3 unbranded parking. That's going to be done by Mr. Jeff and the landlord. I think it should be in there in one of these files that was drawn by actually Jeff Levy. Okay. So it should be in there. That shows the proposed 3 dedicated parking, I guess, to the store, according to the Jeff.
Yeah, I had sent in a plan that showed 3 30-minute parking spaces, as well as a sprayed out crosswalk and signage. That should be in this. I would believe it would be in this submission.
So you do have a plan with a crosswalk?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I guess I'm not.
I did
We
not
don't
recall
see it.
seeing that, but there is one plan that has a colored square on it right there, correct?
That's not,
No. Okay.
that's not the one. That's actually a sewer plan or a water plan there. But I had actually drawn a plan that showed the crosswalk and a couple spaces, and that we were going to replant the planting beds right in front of the space as well.
Was it like, I think it was a separate file that I submitted to Mr. Clark. I don't know, maybe I didn't send it. I didn't go through. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not.
no, I
it's not
don't
part-
remember us receiving that, so.
Yeah, it isn't
Okay.
currently part of this package,
can
but
resend,
it's something that we can just add to the discussion points.
Sure.
So that's good for now.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, and I did this a few weeks ago, it was 3 30-minute parking spaces with, of course, signage for that type of use, a crosswalk with signage to the liquor store, as well as replanting the 3 beds in the immediate area to upgrade them because they, as I recall, when I was there a week or two ago, and it could have been winter, that they were pretty barren and they needed some plantings to make it look a little better.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. The crosswalk is key for the point that I had raised.
Mhm.
Do you have any idea when your planned delivery times would be roughly and what the lighting looks like in the back? I assume you'd be having deliveries for supplies and stuff to the back. I'm just trying to think of that area in Mohawk Commons. There isn't a lot of light back there.
They will be delivering, usually these companies, they deliver anywhere between like 9 a.m. to like in between 3 to 4.
Okay.
That's their range time, before they don't usually show up like late hours. They usually try to show up like during the daylight,
Slower
like
time.
9 to 4 or maybe 9 to 5, that kind of thing. That's what they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that delivery in the back is just for you folks. It doesn't also connect into Burlington at all as part of their reconstruction.
What's that?
In the package, there's a delivery door in the back.
Yeah.
So that's just for this store, right? Doesn't
Yeah.
have any connection into the other store. Okay.
Yeah, that's a
Mhm.
separate door that comes right into that hallway, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you folks would be theoretically the only ones with access to it.
Exactly. Yes,
Yeah,
we are the only
okay.
one. Yeah.
And that would be like regular delivery trucks, not big rigs and all of that.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Just regular. I think they have usually a box trucks that comes probably like 18 feet box truck. That's what they usually bring in there. All the deliveries in.
Not tractor trailers and such.
I don't think so.
I've never seen it.
I've never seen anybody bringing like these type of deliveries in a tractor trailer. Yeah.
Okay. Any other thoughts or comments? Ms. Gold said she would like to be the project lead for this. So
Yes, I would.
list her down for that. And okay, so a couple takeaways from that, some additional information, get it over to the planning department and get the drawings cleaned up so we can see all those items. And then decide what you're going to do. If you ultimately want to postpone the sign package, you would come back with a separate package we could review if you wanted to get moving with the tenant change. If you don't have the sign package ready for the next meeting.
I think it should be ready sometime this week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
A quick protocol question. In this discussion item, I don't know if we missed our opportunity in the privilege of the floor.
Correct.
To talk about this, but I believe this is the first time we've ever come to one of these. We didn't know when, and we thought it was at this discussion point that we would.
No, it would be during privilege of the floor. You can also contact the planning department anytime to talk to them, but when we have a public meeting, it would be at the privilege of the floor. This is only slated for discussion between the applicant and the board. Okay. All right. Mhm.
Oh,
Correct. We stated that in the beginning during privilege of the floor that the one letter that was received was your letter. So all board members have that on file. We've seen that. We can't talk about that now, but we can. Okay. All right. And just as a clarification, privilege of the floor is not an open discussion between the board and the public. It's your opportunity for a few minutes to bring any information to our attention. Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. All right. So that's going to close discussion items, and we will move on to reports. So
Just double check. Laura said someone's mic.
Yeah, the only report we had for tonight was that I put it in the packets for our last 3 pages. The town board did approve the resolution allowing an application for a planned unit development project on Aqueduct Road. We reached out to them to see if they wanted to come back to the meetings yet, but they're still working on some logistics with the wetlands and things. But we wanted to let you know that the town board is allowing them to move forward with an application for a planned unit development. And so you'll probably see that again very soon.
Okay. All right. Anything else for reports, Laura or Clark?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay. Okay, we'll open up to commission business. Any members have any items on commission business?
So I just wanted to understand a little bit better the couple that came to Privileges 4 from Napa Court. Does anyone know what's going on?
Not them, the couple with the masks.
Yeah, the Napa Court couple.
Laura, do you want to speak to that? I'm not familiar.
Yeah, sure. It's a building enforcement issue. It's really not a planning issue. There isn't anything the planning board could do about it because it's not related to a subdivision. We've reached out to the city of Schenectady to see if they could verify the smell. They have not been able to do that. We have sent out building inspectors and policemen who unfortunately have also not been able to pinpoint where it's coming from. Smells are really, really hard to enforce. We reached out to the wastewater treatment plant to see if they changed their chemical use. We're working with the police department to see if there's a way that we can do kind of an unprecedented nighttime smell inspection because we've heard that it comes out after hours. We're doing our best. It's very, very hard to get smell issues. And the other thing that is very difficult about this one is that the affected party appears to be in Niskayuna, but where the smell is purportedly coming from is city of Schenectady. So every time we're looking at doing something, we have to coordinate with the city, which they have been great, but they have not been able to verify the issue either.
And for me, probably the most puzzling thing is, are there any complaints from the other houses?
No, not to my knowledge. They did mention that when they sent the letter out to their neighbors, it has a DEC number. I have not been able to talk to the DEC to see if the DEC has gotten complaints directly, but the town has not received any other complaints from other neighbors.
Laura, I think you already confirmed this, but was it confirmed that the order is not originating from within the house?
I mean, a building inspector hasn't been there, but they've had the house checked over by the fire district with their machines that detect, carbon monoxide and all those things. They've checked the house over multiple times and haven't been able to discover anything in the house.
And Laura, is it safe to say there's no pattern or regularity to the occurrence of the smell? It's just kind of completely random. Is that true?
Yeah, they do feel that it does come more often at night. But it does seem to be very random.
And Laura, I meant to ask this and did not. They've been there 5 years. How recent has this been?
Like they mentioned, I talked to them about
last
it.
summer,
I want
sorry.
to say maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe even a little bit longer than that. But I couldn't tell you exactly when it started. They have given me like a timeline, and I've been working on trying to get, like I said, a system in place for nighttime inspection because my understanding is it does come after hours, which makes it even more difficult to enforce because it's not a 911 call. We actually had the same type of conversation with the short-term rentals. So it's a good dialogue between the town and the dispatchers in Schenectady County. But my building inspector has volunteered to do nighttime inspections to see if he can find it and track it down. It does appear likely that it's coming from the city of Schenectady, though. So even if we can find it and track it down, the enforcement side is actually probably not us. But we're doing what we can with our resources.
Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned that, Laura. So I do think if there is a way, and then thanks to the building inspector for volunteering, if there is a way to get a precise building inspector visit, right? At least that's someone who's directly in the purview of the planning department, right? That And if it can be an after hours one, then it might be worth it. I mean, my only thing here is interested to know what the other neighbors are seeing. And also, we don't want this to be a leading edge of another problem that,
Mhm.
right? I mean, there is that business down on Aqueduct Road that we had approved, right? That does some form of demolition storage.
Jackson Demolition's down
Across the
there.
street, the
There's
landscape.
Yeah,
J-Dog.
Jackson is down there. J-Dog's on the other side, but right at the end of
The old landscaping, Wells
Right,
Landscaping.
yeah.
The
that
Wells
building was
space?
storage and some
Right.
small light manufacturing. But the tenants could change and the use could change, yeah. There's the new hockey rink that was started end of last summer and is still under, that's under construction, but no, we're just thinking
Trying
of
to-
things that have changed, that's the only thing I can think of right in that vicinity. Other than the,
Yeah, I'm trying to set expectations for you guys. I have spent a lot of time on this and I'm trying to do stuff actually outside of what we normally do to
Mhm.
help.
Mhm.
And Rob can jump in here, but noise and smell and smoke and these things are notoriously difficult enforcement. We are absolutely trying. It's really, really hard.
Mhm. Understood.
Yeah, so the other issue there is that municipal enforcement isn't the only avenue for the homeowner to deal with this. So there is a private right of action for nuisance. It's also hard to pursue. I mean, the evidence in both is equally difficult, but as much as I'm sympathetic to this homeowner and acknowledge, like, I'm not downplaying how serious the issue is, it's going to be super hard for the town to fix this unless it's something that we can pinpoint in the town. And, if it's like, I haven't dealt with this issue, but I was town attorney at a point in time when we were dealing with noise violations, super hard to enforce because they come and go. So,
what was their address, Laura? Again,
So they live at the
10
end of the
Napa.
cul-de-sac on Napa Court. And they have really felt like they've pinpointed the area to be in the city of Schenectady. But my building inspector has actually been out a couple of times trying to find it when they mentioned that there was still a smell and hasn't been able to find it. But again, everybody's sense of smell is very different.
Mhm.
So there's, the police have gone out trying to find it. The fire department has gone out trying to find it. In the daytime, my building inspector has gone out to try and find it. The only thing we haven't tried is the nighttime inspection, which I am still working on. That's very unprecedented coordination with the Schenectady County, but I don't mind trying. I'm always happy to try something new to see if we can catch it. But
Jengus, I had them as 10 Napa Court.
10. Thank you. Okay.
The only other thing, Laura, that could possibly maybe trigger this is that if it's during rain events or something where it might change the water table or bring something up, if there was a contaminated soil possibly. I mean, if the complaints come in and there's a weather event, maybe it's linked to that.
maybe it does seem to be and yes, I am happy to work on anything that I can see. But my sense of the complaint that's come through multiple times is that something's burning. So
Yeah.
the best way to catch it if we could is to follow the smell to open flame.
Right.
That would be an easy enforcement action there if we could find that. We have not been able to find that yet though. Well, I say easy though, but if it's in the city of Schenectady,
right.
we may be able to pinpoint it to some extent, but they'll still have to do the enforcement.
It will be interesting now that we're moving to warmer weather. If it started at the end of last summer, as more windows are open and people are outside, if people do seem to smell it more. I don't know.
Okay. Well, as always, Laura, thank you for all the work the planning
Yes.
department and code enforcement is putting into this. Okay. I had a couple items. The town did appoint a Paul Schaefer Homes Committee to start documenting the Paul Schaefer homes. It's a very good eclectic group of people. Some are homeowners, others are interested people in the neighborhood. We're going to have somebody from the Architecture Review Board. I'm going to help out on the committee as well from the architectural standpoint. And then I think the next step for them is to get actual committee scheduled dates and to schedule some walkthroughs. So I'm not sure if those will be open to other members and other committees, but it's going to be an interesting spring and summer.
And what will is it simply to create like a formal recognition? Is there an end goal? Like,
So step one is to get what we believe are either Schaefer homes or Schaefer inspired homes into a database in the catalog to get into the town records. And then in conjunction with the Kelly Adirondack Center, which is owned by Union College, tried to get some crossover information on what they have in their archives, but eventually get a database so that the town has it. And then ultimately just a local recognition of those homes and the listings that the town board would recognize. And then from there, if they want to form their own private, grouping or something like that, they could.
Wasn't there some movement to recognize historic, define historic?
Mhm.
But that was within the code of the town, right?
Correct.
Which
And-
we didn't adopt yet.
Correct. So part of it also would be is to not only get that database listing, but also include that as an appendix, I believe, in the upcoming comprehensive plan
Okay.
volume that's coming out. The historical and cultural resources one is being significantly updated and improved for this version.
Are there seats open on that committee?
I think, yes, I think there are. Yeah, I think there are open seats. Yeah. Committees can go up to, I forget what the number was, but there was an open, I think there was an opening.
Usually 9. We don't go
Okay.
over 9.
There you go.
7 is good. We don't usually go over 9.
Is will information about this committee be posted on the town website at some point?
It will, because every meeting will have to be
Okay.
up at the Schaefer Room.
All right.
Yeah.
and would that ultimately, David, would that ultimately drive like code around like what you you have to be designated historic, right? And then there's some limitations as to what you can do. It's not at that
No,
level.
there's no covenants. This is not a
Preservation situation.
It's not a preservation district. It is not a heritage district, even
Okay.
though we're looking into that now just schematically
Yep.
at the comprehensive planning level.
Yep.
But this would not put any covenants or any restrictions on a homeowner that owns the home to not restore it or to do whatever they choose to do that's within the building purveyance of the town. But most Schaefer homeowners are good stewards. So we've been fortunate as a community. And then the other thing is that there is a committee that's also reviewing the safety on Route 7. You guys might have seen some information on that, especially with some of the recent news. Currently, I am appointed to that committee. If anybody has a real interest in that, please talk to me. I have a couple scheduling conflicts with that, but it would be great to have somebody on planning to be fully involved in that if possible.
It's the Route 7 linkage study where we're going to look at complete streets treatments to the core to improve safety.
I think the consultant is Labella, correct, Laura?
Yes, Labella.
Any other commission business? All right, nothing further. Somebody propose a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Laflamme, second by Ms. Gold. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and we are adjourned at 8:20 PM, or by that clock, 7:21. Thank you, everyone.